Right fellas, so I've just bought this RS3 spoke steering wheel. This is the roughest one I've ever seen. I paid £100 for this and I bought it off a lad I used to work with. And what happened was, about 20 years ago, the lad owned a Series 2 RS Turbo. And he took the steering wheel off his Series 2 RS Turbo and put it in his garden shed. Then about 5 years ago, that shed collapsed with the steering wheel in, and the steering wheel has just been buried under a collapsed shed for 5 years. So that's why it's all rusty and minging. So in this video, we're going to hopefully restore this back to better than new. And as you can see, the first part of the job is to remove the leather from the steering wheel so we can clean up the centre metal part of the wheel. And you'll notice the leather is just stuck down with some spray glue, and it must be that old it is well stuck down. But you'll notice there's no stitching on the steering wheel. But by the end of this video, you'll notice we're not going to use any glue. We're going to stitch all the leather back on. So that's the 3 leather fillet pieces removed from the inside of the wheel. We're then going to move on to removing the leather on the rim of the wheel. There again fellas, there's no stitching, it's purely glued in place with some super strong glue. You can see as I pull it off, it's leaving the back of the leather on the foam, which we'll have to clean up at some point in this video. You can see how well it's stuck down here fellas. It is hard to pull off. I'm worried I'm going to damage the foam, but fortunately it's not doing any damage to the foam underneath. So far everything is looking good. To get the last little bit off, I'm just going to put a screwdriver under and just pop the end of the leather off, just to try and prevent doing any damage to the foam. So far we've done no damage anywhere other than pull the leather off the foam, which is what we're trying to do. There's the last little bit. There we go, it's off. And you can see the shape of it there. You can see the leather's all dry and cracked and minging. Needs replacing. And here's the steering wheel with the leather off. You can see the foam underneath. It looks a bit green and manky, but I think it should go again. You can see the rust here on the steel, what we need to clean up. But I think what we're going to start by doing is removing these 6 bolts in the middle of the hub to remove the steering wheel from the boss. Fortunately they're not rusted in and they're coming off no problem. I didn't put any WD-40 on, I just went straight for it. There we go, there's the steering wheel away from the boss. You can see underneath where it's been sat in a shed, it's all full of cobwebs, dead spiders and just general dirt. There's the boss, you can see all the ming underneath, dead spiders, cobwebs. And you can see the paint flaking off as well, the aluminium starting to oxidise. So to clean the steering wheel up, I'm going to use this. This is a Scotch-Brite Roll-Lock bristle disc. I believe it's a mixture of like a plastic and ceramic, and it's really good for removing rust. I've got it in my little Milwaukee hand tool and it's spinning it round at about 5,000 RPM. It's taking the rust straight off. It's not damaging the metal, it's not sanding it down, it's purely just removing the stuff we need to take it off, which is the rust. And you can see where I've removed the rust, it's revealed the Ford badge, which should be there. So that's nice to see, that's still there. We'll get that cleaned up. Right, so let's move on to masking the steering wheel. I'm just going to wrap it all the way around the rim, then you can see I've masked the centre bits up with some red tape, just to protect all the foam when we're painting. I'm going to start with some Pro X Ultra Etch Primer. I give it 1 light coat of primer, then 2 heavier coats. Then I moved on to the body filler, squirted it on an onion board and added a little bit of hardener. Then put a thin coating everywhere on the steering wheel that's rusty. It was all pitted, it needs a little bit of body filler on to sort it out. I then got some 500 grit wet or dry, rolled it in a plastic block, and keeping it nice and flat, I just gently rubbed to get a nice flat surface ready for some black paint. And the black paint I used was satin black. So it's not a gloss and it's not a matte, it's in between. It's like a dull matte with a bit of shine. Once I give it a couple of good coats, I left it dry for about 24 to 36 hours. Then I called the professionals in. Right fellas, I've came to see Angus at Kish Trims. I've bought the steering wheel, it's been painted, it's looking mint. Now, Angus has just said, this has been trimmed before, mate, this isn't the original leather what we've taken off.
Definitely been retrimmed before. Obviously Adam's took it off. You can see round here where somebody's scribed it into there. Not correct. What we're going to do is take a template. You can see the very faint line where it'll be hand stitched.
Oh, you hand stitch it?
Into here. Then we'll correctly, there'll be a seam here right on the bottom. We're going to mark this up and just explain how we're going to do it. Then there'll be 3 separate pieces on here. The edges will be skived, which means we're going to thin the leather. I'm going to bring it back round. We can still see an original line here where it'll be hand stitched again. It'll come over approximately 10 mil, and this is correctly how Ford would have finished it in the day.
Like I say fellas, I'm not going for anything fancy bells and whistles. I basically want this steering wheel to look how it did when it was new from Ford. So how are we going to start anyway, mate?
How we're going to start, we're going to find the original line because it'll be somewhere in the middle of here. So we're going to mark all this up, and then we're going to get a piece of leather because we're actually going to do this wheel twice.
Are you saying you take a template?
Yeah,
then so you bin the template then.
So we're actually going to get a piece of leather, sew it up correctly with the seam on the bottom, place it round, and then we're going to scalpel into this line. That's our template. Then we're going to transfer that onto the actual leather we're going to use, and then we're going to start stitching it.
When you do a template, do you do it out of the leather you're going to use, or do you use like a cheap leather? So
we don't. There's no cheap leather in there.
Not?
None at all. We'll be using correct Bentley Beluga leather, which will be a napper, so it's a smooth leather, as opposed to a grained leather, and it's just going to look sick.
Aye.
It's going to look nice.
Aye, that's what I want. That's what I want. Right, crack on, mate, and I'll just video you doing your thing. So what you're doing there? You're marking where you're going to stitch.
Yeah, you can basically see a faint line here, which would have been the centre line for the stitching. So we're going to put a stitch on either side. Then we're going to cross stitch it.
How would Ford have done this from you? Would they have done it on
exactly the same way? Exactly the same way.
So when Ford made these, it was people in the factory with hand doing them?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. I'm no expert, mind. I've only been doing this for 30 odd years. So you just have to bear with us, eh?
Aye, mate, you know what you're doing. Yeah, I've got a choice of leathers for us, haven't you? But I think we've picked one now, like a...
Yeah, we're going to go for a smooth napper, which you can see over there. There's so many on the horse. Unbelievable. I always believe in keeping a lot of stock, and then obviously we can just get on with the job, you know, rather than looking at little tiny samples. We've just got full hides in Bentley, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Lamborghini. They're all currently in stock in a little trim shop in Sunderland. And I will say, true to his word, Adam did bring some biscuits in to join the queue, and they were milk chocolate digestive. So
the best biscuits, man, milk chocolate digestive.
Fair play to the lad. Right, so we can see this is going to be our centre line. This is what we're going to cut the leather to. I'm going to take the template. We're going to come in off here. We can see this original line here.
So that would have been a stitched.
Don't know if the camera can see, but that's your seam, and then the two parts is then folded out so that lays flat on there. So we'll replicate that. There's always little clues to look for, a little bit of knowledge. Not that I've got very much, but
just 30 odd years.
Just try my best, eh? Try my best. So that's where it's going to be, the join, not here, not there.
Where it should be at the bottom.
Correct, at the bottom, yeah.
Like I say, fellas, nothing fancy. I'm not having one of these strips at the top what you get in track. On like track steering wheels, just a basic retrim. So is that just like a silver paint pen you're using then?
Yeah, this all washes off.
Do you wash it off or do you just leave it on?
Just wash it off.
Do you?
Yeah. So that's going to come into there. Our lines are going to come, these are separate parts, 3 separate parts. They're going to come off there. We've got loads of clues here.
So that's how it was done originally as well, 3 separate parts on there?
100%, yeah. With the joint, I don't know if the camera can see.
I can see that.
That's clearly where the joint will be, so we'll put this piece of leather on, we'll skive it, which means we're going to thin the leather down, down to about 0.8, because a piece of leather comes 1 point something.
How do you thin it?
On the skiving machine.
Right.
Right, that's my 3 pieces, my joins. That's where we're going to be, that's what we're going to trim to, so that's how we're going to make the template. Right. Easy as that.
Easy as that, eh?
Alright.
What now? Pick some leather?
Pick some leather, aye. The correct way to store leather.
Oh, this is the correct way to store, what, like hang it?
Aye, yeah. So, as you can see, there's
leather all over.
every piece on there, 10 deep. But this is the best of stuff. Bentley, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Crema. But we're going to use this Bentley Beluga.
This is what, Bentley Beluga?
Yeah, the best of the best. It's nappa.
So this has got like a small grain, but you did have one with like a thicker grain, didn't you? Like
yeah,
more...
yeah. This is called the correct, so nappa, so it's off the top of the hide. So a hide's, you know, it can be split into 10 pieces, right the way down.
So the skin is split.
Yeah, so this is right off the top. It's called hair cell, which is another name for it.
Well, it's got the hairs coming through, the little holes for the hair.
Basically, aye. So normal size hide, 54 square foot. You see the shape of a cow, legs.
Shut up, man, has it got the legs on and that?
Yeah, you'd have to lay it out.
Aye. I don't know why it's surprising us, but just, aye.
Yeah, and its belly.
Aye, its neck up there.
So that's, probably won't see it on the full bench, but we'll chop a piece out of here. And so on here we've got 4.47 metres squared.
Right.
It always tells you, you buy.
So how much would this have been, this bit of leather?
So this bit of leather, which we're donating to the good cause, would cost me approximately from £300, depending on.
Would it really?
Yeah. It's not like going to a shop and saying I want a McDonald's, a milkshake, because
it's all different grades.
True to form.
Do you ever get scars and that in it?
You do get scars, aye. But every cow is a different size. So what they'll do when you pre-order one, they'll measure it in feet.
City Centre, that,
innit? They'll pre-measure it, and then they'll come back to you with a price. So we're just going to put a straight edge on there.
So these offcuts, like the bits of the legs and that?
Yeah. If
you
you lie down,
things,
well,
gators and that maybe.
Yeah, you could do, yeah. Right, so I want that about 5 inches. Doesn't particularly matter where we'll cut this from, as I say, because it's only for a template. When we do the proper one, we'll slice this in half, and we'll use the belly because it's nice and soft.
All right.
Bit like Adam's, eh? Only joke me, old pal. Only joking. Just tell us you're going to the gym, but I'm a bit dodgy about that, like, yeah.
So like you say, this is just going to be scrapped as well, isn't it? This bit what we're cutting?
Yeah, it'll be chucked in the bin. People do it in different ways. I'm not saying I'm no expert. This is the way I like to do it.
Whatever works, isn't it?
Does take a little bit longer, but you know, if you've got a good template, then you're away. Right, here we're going. So again, we're going to cut this. We've half measured it. Doesn't really matter. We're not bothered about chopping into big hides. We've got plenty of them. But we're going to probably make it smaller, and then we'll show you when we stretch this on how it's going to bend in and take the shape. So in my opinion, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong. My opinion, this works best. You want a nice tight steering wheel. There's loads of people who trim a wheel for like pennies.
They look like pennies.
But they're just full of wrinkles and.
Mate, honestly, that's why I came here, because I've seen you work and.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Right, I didn't want rubbish. It would do me head in if it was full of wrinkles and creases and that.
No, well, you're getting the best of the best, aren't you? So, but it's nice to be nice, isn't it?
Aye.
Nice to be nice.
Right,
that's our bit out of there. We're going to chuck this back on the horse. Let nobody tell you any different. This is the correct way to store leather. Right. So I've just squared that off with a T-square, so now it's nice and level. Obviously, Adam hasn't sanded this up very well, but
is that, I was going to ask, because it's still got like bits of leather. Do you just sand that down, do you?
Just sand it down, aye.
Because I don't want to knot it.
I don't want to knock it.
Can you reform these if you need to?
You can do, you chop little bits out and
put bits in and that.
I put bits in and whatever. Right, so roughly.
Do you want a hand?
I will do, I'm just gonna roughly.
I was wondering how to get these little bits of leather.
I will just sand them off. Probably by hand then when we're gonna get a nice job. If you use a sander or a power file or whatever, you could damage it a little bit. So roughly we're gonna go for the centre there. As you see, that's just a basic line. So we're gonna measure that backwards. We're not bothered because it needs to be tighter anyway.
Alright, so you're pulling in more.
We're going to put approximately a 10mm seam in there. I know we're working inches, but people understand approximately 10mm either side. That's going to fold out flat and it's going to meet nice and square. So it might be a little bit trial and error just for a couple of minutes.
Now this might sound like a daft question, right?
I get asked them every single day.
Right, Alcantara, right?
Yes.
Is that the back of the leather?
No.
So how do they make Alcantara?
So Alcantara is man-made.
Is it?
It's man-made.
Oh, I thought it was leather. I always thought it was the back of the...
No, there's plenty of it over here. There's 57 metres in the hallway. Alcantara is a man-made suede.
Ah, right.
There's loads
it's hard wearing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very fashionable, it's very on vogue. But to get some proper suede, you would then put the piece of leather back in a tumbler, and rather than have a smooth finish, you would have this on both sides. So you'd have this part on both sides. That's genuine suede.
Right, that's
Alcantara is very, very fashionable. It's a man-made product from Italy. I like it. I've got it in my van. I've got a Ford as well. Do we get any more points for that or not?
You can do, I'll give you some
Ford
points.
Transit.
So you're just stretching it there?
So I'm just roughly trying to gauge how much I can stretch this. As I say, we've laid it on, we've squared it up. There's still a lot more to go. By making it tighter, when we put it on, it's going to fall into here, and it's going to make me templating a lot easier.
All right.
A lot neater, and unlike other people, we're not going to have any bumps. There you go.
That'll do. So the more you stretch it, the easier it is on the inside edges.
Yeah, because it will just fall in. Can you see how much that's stretching?
I can. It's almost bending around itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got to stretch that quite a bit as well, haven't you?
Yeah. So that, when I saw it, it'll just drop into there, preventing any creasing. And we've still got a bit to go.
So when people get creases in, is that because they haven't stretched it enough?
It's because they don't know what they're doing. But that's another story, isn't it? Right, where we're at. About the inches. I would say we're going to take 3 or 4 inches off that.
So you're going to stretch this 3 or 4 inches?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not even using any substitutes like Viagra or anything. Just big fat sausage roll fingers. And we're going to get this on. Right, so we're going to take 3 inches off. I think that's about right. Nice and square. We're going to put a 10mm seam on. Stretch it over. And we're going to get the scalpel out. Obviously I haven't had a drink last night, so I can cut. I haven't got shaky hands. Right, follow me, Adam. Come on.
That's what we're doing here?
Yeah, so we're going to put a nice little seam on of about 10mm approximately. When we start the seam, we're going to back tack it so it doesn't come apart. Again, this is only the template.
So this will go in the bin?
This will go in the bin, but a good template is going to have a good finished product.
Right.
We might even make it a little tiny bit tighter, but let's stretch it on and see what it looks like. So that's what your seam's going to look like on the finished article.
Nice.
Right, we're going to stretch this over. See how much is stretching there? If I keep that.
Alright.
So I want this as tight as possible. Might need a little hand.
Aye. Give us a shout when you want a hand. I'll just put this down. We've got the other one going.
Aye, put down.
Right. What do you want to do? Get this top bit.
Yep. I want you to flip that over. And it wants to be tight. It doesn't want to just.
I'm scared of fucking it.
Oh, well. Get your back in the wood.
Give me that end, you can pull it.
Oh, why aye.
Right, go on, I'll hold this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
No, you go on, I'll go from there.
Got it.
We might even make it a bit tighter, I don't know.
Tighter still?
Possibly.
That is tight, that as well, mine, isn't it?
It is tight, aye. Might have got it right first time, eh?
So will you cut this all to bits for at the end?
Yeah. Yeah. We're just going to square this off in the centre, have a quick look at it, see what it looks like.
Is that a scar in the leather there?
It is, yeah.
Ah.
Aye. As I say, it
Aye,
doesn't
it's a
matter
cow, innit?
for the template. So that is more or less just going to fall into place. We're going to put a little bit of adhesive in here, just a little bit spray glue, just to keep it in place. We're going to come back with a scalpel, scribe it all off, and then that's our template. We've got probably a little bit too much on there, but better off be safe than sorry. We kind of add it on. So that seam's going to follow there. This is
Off on the line what you put on.
This is off the original seam. I feel with a lot of luck this morning, I think we've got this right first time. It is tight. And I think that's just going to float into there, which is exactly what we want. Obviously when we put our stitch on, we'll stitch it both sides in order to hand stitch it. Again, this will bring it tighter. So I think we'll just add a little bit of luck.
A little bit of luck and 30 years of experience.
Aye, something like that, aye. Don't give me age away, not on the camera anyway.
Oh, so you're spraying it on now?
I'm going to spray it on when I find my little scalpel.
This is still a template, isn't it?
Still a template, yeah. I should have been more organised here, it's here, man.
Man.
There you are. I've had that since I was a boy. It's even got Angus written on it. That's nice, isn't it? Right, so again, nothing technical because there's nothing technical involved in this. We're going to spray this down just so it holds it, keeping this centre mark bang on that line. And then we're going to start scalpeling from one side, and then we're going to fold the leather and hit the other side. So I'm pretty happy with that template. It is tight. It will get a little bit tighter.
But I've seen people use steam. Does that shrink the leather when the?
Yeah. Steam, heat also.
So is that what they do to try and get rid of wrinkles sometimes?
Well, if you do it right, you don't need to use any of them. Just a little bit of adhesive in here. We'll keep this line nice and square. That's obviously it'll do your tits in if you're driving along.
I would, aye.
And
it's all over.
And it's all over the place. So that's the kind of finish we're going to get. We might even skive this. So the skiving is going to like thin it down to about 0.8, and then
so you wouldn't see the stitches
then you
much.
wouldn't actually see. We'll obviously reduce that. We'll stitch that at 5 stitches per inch. There's always settings. That's a common.
What's that? Are
trimming.
they about 4 inches, 4 stitches per inch or something?
No, that's at 5 stitches
Oh,
per inch, which is a common stitch in the automotive trade. We'll probably drop it down to about 8 stitches per inch, so it'll be almost invisible.
And a bit stronger.
Yeah, well, more stitches to the inch. So it's just nice and neat. We've got a nice neat finish, and this is what we want to achieve doing this wheel. So, and again, if we skive it, this is just going to look like one piece of leather because we're actually halving that. So, right, I think we're good to go, pal. Man, he is a bit of a slave driver. I've had 1 sip of coffee this morning. He just wants it done. So if I pass out halfway through this video, you know the reason why. And again, what I'll say is there'll be other people that'll do this job in a different way.
Mate.
This is the way I've found. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong. But we can see.
You've seen the finished product, why it's came here.
You can see that because it's nice and tight, it's more or less fallen into place. The little bit of glue, as I say, it won't be used in the final piece.
Oh, you don't put glue on the final bit?
No. We're just relying on tightness, strength, stitching. We'll cut it slightly shorter, and then the stitching will pull it through, and this is what's going to make it lovely and tight. Nice to the feel. You know, you can hold the wheel in any position, and it's going to feel beautiful. It's luxury. It is the best of leather.
It is the best leather you can get, this, is it?
In my opinion, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd know better than me.
So you can buy cheap leather in Leeds or Bradford or wherever, but
Where'd you get your leather from then?
no disrespect to anybody that lives in Leeds or Bradford, but there's tanneries there. I'll buy a lot of stuff from Germany.
Right.
They stock a lot of
Good quality stuff.
top end, the best Rolls Royce. Again, there's companies in the UK that, again, are leather warehouses, but they're not tanners. You know, Perserbio is a tanner in Italy, so we'll buy Ferrari, Maserati from them. We tend to deal directly with the tanneries as opposed to little wholesaling places. They're not little. That was probably the wrong thing to say, but
Cuts out the middleman.
well, it does, and we've got a good relationship which we've built over a number of years with them, and not a problem. If we want 10 eyes, we want 20 eyes, we want a bale, they just send a lot, send a lot. Right, so you can see that now.
It's starting to look like a steering wheel,
starting
isn't
to look like a steering wheel, son. Yeah. Can I have a cup of coffee? Yeah? Please, can I have a drink of coffee?
So you're just cutting it to size there?
Yeah. All we're doing is we're just folding this leather back, looking at our silver pen, which we already put on earlier. Tell you what I will do. Obviously, you can see this isn't prepped.
Put a new blade
I'm going to
on.
get a new blade in, make my job a little bit easier.
Right, so you've got a new blade there?
So I've got a new
blade
blade.
there, Angus.
Hey? None of this is obviously premeditated. You can see the blade on the opposite side.
Alright, so you can see it coming through.
We're going to cut to this line, and then sometime today we're going to have a template.
So how long do you think it would take to like retrim this full steering wheel, including making this template, then the final piece at the end?
Definitely a day.
Like a working day, 8 hours?
Well, I start at 6 and work till whenever, but it's not about speed, to be fair. It's about quality.
Aye. But you reckon it would take 8 to 10 hours?
Definitely. There's no magical way of doing it.
No.
It's the old-fashioned way. It's got to be done by hand. So that's basically what we're going to do.
All the way around?
We're going to trim this to that silver line all the way around. And again, obviously when you put this stitch in, it become even tighter again. So
does the stitching pull it in?
Stitching will pull it in. We'll undersize it. We'll get a beautiful, lovely, tight to your hand finish on the wheel. So that's basically what we're going to do.
All the way around?
Right the way around. Right, we're nearly there. So basically that's what we've done.
Now there is a slight gap in there, but like you see, this is a template.
Yeah.
But even if you stitched that would pull together, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it would do. Yeah. We're going to actually make it a little bit shorter.
You're going to make it when you take this off. The next part you're going to make slightly smaller.
Yeah, we're going to cut this with a scissor because obviously we're just using a blade, so we'll get this nice and straight. Make it slightly tighter.
So it'll pull together even more.
When we hand stitch it in, it's going to be beautiful. You feel it around here. It just feels beautiful.
This is stuck on at the minute with a spray glue, isn't it? But you're not going to use any glue when you...
No, we'll sand all that back down. We won't be using any glue. We'll just keep the silver line as a template for the centre, and then we'll start stitching it.
Because as well, there's still like lumps in it, and that's from that stuff I've left on underneath.
That's of you, now to do with me.
But we're going to take it off, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to take it off. Aye.
So it'll be mint.
Of course it'll be mint.
Aye. Not that I'm doubting you, but just so people who are watching it understand what's going on.
It's all in the preparation.
Exactly.
In any job.
It's like that saying, perfect preparation prevents piss-poor performance.
Glad you said that.
Aye. Do you like doing steering wheels? Or do you prefer doing like seats and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean? Like bigger stuff?
I love, obviously I've created quite a good name for Rolls Royce and Bentley motor cars, which is a massive passion of mine anyway.
Oh, you like the cars, do you?
I love cars.
What have you got, a Rolls Royce?
Yeah, I've got a Phantom, yeah. Yeah, very, very lucky. I work hard though, I work hard.
Work hard, aye.
Never really use it. Take it out a few times a year at the shows. We go to the big annual one.
So you like doing high-end cars, Bentleys, Rolls Royces and stuff?
That's what I created a name for, but not to be confused. We can
You can do anything. You can do an old Ford.
We can repair you know, a cigarette burn, but predominantly we like to trim top end cars. Anyway, I'm happy with that. It feels nice, feels tight, and it's, as I say, it's just going to get tighter. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Mint.
Do you want to feel?
Why I want to feel you.
The steering wheel though.
It does feel nice. Check that out, man. So what you marking up there for the 3 little bits that go on there?
Yeah, that's where we're going to finish, and obviously the little spokes go over the top, so we'll stitch it just past here, maybe about 10 mil past. Scarve the leather off, place it on there, fold it round, and we'll put a nice little stitch across there. And it'll probably finish about 10 mil past the foam and onto the spoke itself.
That's the way it was originally done as well, isn't it? Like I say, no fancy bells and whistles, just a nice plain retrim. What's that chalk you're using there?
We'll put an F on for front. You know, like when you put your socks on and it's got left and right on, we'll just put an F on so we know which way we're going.
Maybe you with socks.
Right, we've got to tack the bits now.
So all that, let's come straight to bits.
Yeah, but the template's good, eh? So, click this off. As I say, that glue was just to stabilise it, wasn't stuck on fast. Then we're going to have to sand it down so it's nice and smooth.
The foam?
Yeah, we don't want any imperfections in the feel or touch of the leather, any bumps visible.
Right, so you've took the template off. What's next, mate?
We took this off. We're going to unpick this.
The stitching.
Yeah. We're happy with the template. The template's bang on. We're just going to go around with the pair of scissors and get it nice and straight.
Get the template straight.
Get the template straight, yeah.
So we look laid out. It's already kind of moulded to the steering wheel, isn't it? It's like...
Yeah, it's took its shape. You can obviously see where the spokes are. Yeah, we're just going to fine tune it and then
rub this foam
clean
down.
this down, which you should have done earlier on, but that's
I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't want to knock it.
Well, how do you expect me? No, I wouldn't know how to do it.
Well, you've got more experience, haven't you? So you're just basically straightening all the lines up what you've cut with the knife, aren't you?
Basically taking between 1 and 2 mil off. So it's nice and straight. We'll then lay this down on the piece of leather, re-template it off the template, put some stitching on, and then we'll start sewing it together.
Right.
Probably see there, we're taking little tiny
slivers off. Then when you stitch it, it'll pull it together, won't it?
Yeah.
Right, what we're doing now, mate? Bit tarn glue remover.
Bit tarn glue remover, get this off, get the bits off what you missed. Any normal person would use the top, but Chris, my right arm man, decides to put
a hole in the tin.
A little tiny hole in the tin. Don't ask us why.
It's just the way he works,
I'm not going to argue with him either.
So that's just the back of the leather, isn't it, that's been stuck on?
A little bit of the back of the leather, some of the original one. We'll just go around it, get it nice and smooth. If there's anything else fine on it, we'll
get it off. So what's under that foam? Is it just like a metal ring or something?
Yeah, it'll be steel underneath it, and then the foam's just, as I say,
over the top.
You can make it to any specific shape. Obviously in the day they didn't have any of these fancy top markers or indentations or recesses.
Just a plain wheel.
Just a plain round wheel. Nothing technical. You can see that's starting to come off there now. So basically, to get to this stage, we'll probably been on
couple hours.
Couple hours. So it is possible to do a full wheel in a day. Sometimes it goes over, depending on
customers coming in and out.
Well, that's obviously always going to happen every single day.
So you're just rubbing the high spots off there so it's nice and smooth when the leather goes on?
Yeah, that tarn glue's took
most of it off.
The majority of it off. Just get nice and smooth. I'll be ready to cut a new piece of leather Just start stitching.
I'm guessing this is the part that will make a big difference as well. So you want it nice and smooth, don't you? So you've got to get really
Yeah.
as smooth as possible base underneath.
It's like what you said, it's all in the preparation. I'd rather take a little bit longer prepping it
And get a better job.
and then get a better job.
So when you strip these wheels, normally it's the foam or always this colour underneath.
Yeah, I think it's it would normally be, well, all different colours really.
Is it? Just this one's obviously been sat outside for a few years, so I don't know if it had gone a bit green and mouldy.
Possibly, but it's still fine. Still,
I was going to say there's no holes in it. It's still sturdy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like hard foam.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. What colour are we going to stitch this in? Just original black.
Aye.
Yeah. Nothing fancy red or anything like that. No.
No. Need bells and whistles.
Back to basics.
Back to basics. And this is the finished result after the steering wheel has been cleaned down with the tar and glue remover. Some nice clean foam ready for some fresh leather. Right, so we made the template. Here's the template what Angus made. He's now just cutting another bit. Are you cutting it the same size, mate, or slightly smaller?
No, it'll be the same size.
Exactly the same size.
Right, we'll chuck this back on the horse.
Back on the horse. So you can see the template, what we've got there. Obviously it's a bit big at the minute, so Angus will just cut it all down. So what are you looking for there, mate? Scars or
Just
something?
any scars, There's obviously loads of myths about barbed wire fences and all this.
I remember my mum and dad got a set here years ago and it was full of scars, and that's what they said, it's because of the field where they brought up in. So what are you doing there? Just stapling into your bench?
Yeah, just just so the template doesn't move. We'll only staple it behind the seam, so everything else is on short.
Watch your fingers with that thing, eh?
Aye, I didn't plan on doing that. It'll hurt.
So you're just drawing around the original template there?
Yeah.
Are you going a little bit bigger or the same size?
No, it'll be exactly the same size.
Exactly the same size. There we go, all the way around there. Pop the staples out. Like you see, this original piece, what we've done, will go in the bin, won't it?
Go in the bin. Other people do it different ways, but
Ah, yeah, whatever works, mate, whatever works.
this is where I do it.
Alright.
We're going to cut inside that silver line.
So you're going to the original template instead of on the outside where it will be a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Are they like proper scissors for leather, or just generic kitchen scissors type thing?
The cheap scissors.
The cheap ones.
Yeah. I like them.
You like the cheap ones, eh?
Chris likes the most expensive £110 ones, but
You find they work best, eh?
well, I've just got fat fingers, haven't I? So
fit your fingers in.
the work.
So how thick's the leather, Angus?
We want mine semi-mil.
Is it all different that of every hide?
Yeah, well.
Or generally about the same?
Yeah.
Give or take 20% or something?
What we're going to do in a minute, we're going to skive the leather on the seam, so we'll definitely take that down to about 0.8. So when we fold the seam back on itself, it's just going to be one piece of leather, so we're not going to get a bump at the bottom of the steering wheel.
Mate, I think it's the details like that that make a good retrim.
Well, we can only try, couldn't we?
Why, aye. There we go.
One
So there's the template there. And there's the scrap one in the bin.
In the bin. Right, so basically what this is going to do is going to thin the leather.
So has this got like some kind of sanding wheel or something on, or?
It's got a wheel and a sharp blade. So we're going to drop that in there, approximately about ½ an inch seam.
So that's just thinning down the leather.
Yeah, it's going to whip it down to about 0.8.
0.8 of a millimetre.
Yeah.
You just do one pass?
No, so that's what we're going to get.
Look. Oh, God, I can feel that, can't you?
Yeah.
You're doing both ends?
Doing both ends, so as I say, see it's turning it off as it's going through. So as I say, we won't get like a bump at the bottom of the wheel. It's just going to be as if it's one piece of leather. So obviously when we sew this, we're going to fold it back over.
So that's what you've taken off?
So that's the little bits what we've taken off.
Ah, right.
Right, that was painless.
On your sewing machine, huh?
So we're gonna, normally you'd stitch about 5 stitches per inch. We're gonna drop this down to 8 stitches an inch, just so it's nice and tidy. We're gonna sew just inside the seam. So every inch that we stitch is going to have
8 stitches.
8 stitches, yeah.
So does this sewing machine pull the leather through as it stitches?
It's a walking foot nail feed machine.
Right. So you're not pushing it to get the 8 stitches per inch, it's kind of
No.
feeding itself. Hands off kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. The best, in my opinion, Seiko or Brother, the 2 best machines, which we have a few in here. Just checking underneath to make sure it's level. Back tatted. That means you run the stitch backwards and forwards just so it doesn't fray.
Right.
Just chop that little bit off. It's exactly, so it's just inside where we've skived it, so where we've thinned that bit of leather, it's just inside. I'm gonna give this a little trial fit, and then we're gonna move the stitches back up to 5 stitches an inch. And that gives you a lovely little detail, whereas if you had a bigger stitch in, you maybe be able to see through it a little bit. So we're going to try this on. Make sure
on the wheel?
Yeah, make sure we're happy with that.
Right, so we're back at the bench, we've got our steering wheel and our final piece of leather.
I'm going to get a little bit of glue.
Right. What's the glue for then, Angus?
Just to stick the seam down, and then we're going to roll it.
Right.
Just so get a nice finish, really.
All right, so you're going to spread it out kind of thing, stick it down. And obviously if any of the glue gets on, we can just wipe that off later, can't we?
No, it's just, as I say, just to hold it temporary. Just put a little roller across it. Then as you see, we're not going to get a horrible bump at the bottom of the wheel. So that's all good.
Mint.
Yeah, we've got to put a little bit of silicone on this wheel just to help us round.
So that's just help it slide on?
Yeah, just give it a try, a little fit. Put a little bit on here as well. When we sew the top stitch on, we'll also do that, so we'll get the stitches nice and even. So we're going to line that up there. We've still got our marks off a few hours ago.
Now you're just going to stretch that over,
Basically, yeah.
It's a nice snug fit, isn't it? You can hear it sliding on there,
Yeah.
creaking. So you're doing there, just checking the 3 positions, make sure they line up.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I'm sure they will, like.
You're checking it's going to meet all the way around there when you stitch it.
Yeah, well, it will pull in a little bit, but to be fair, it's going to meet. Obviously, we've got to get a bang on that line when actually do it, but
You happy with it?
I think that's good enough. Right, we need to put some more stitches on it. Back the sewing machine.
Back the sewing machine, eh? So what we're stitching now, mate?
So we're going to put on the rim, we're going to put a stitch, and this stitch is going to be pulled in by hand
At the end.
Yeah.
So is this what's going to close it round the
Yeah.
like the round the bar kind of thing of the steering wheel?
Yeah.
Is this a special kind of thread, or is it just like is it a leather thread type thing, or is it just a generic black thread?
It's classic. Well, it's Ceraphil, which is the best thread you can buy.
Right, Ceraphil.
Yeah.
All right.
It's 20 density.
Right.
It's just very, very common in the car trimming trade. But Ceraphil is the best.
Right. How long have you had this machine then, mate? This Seco machine?
There's a.
Did you buy it new?
I bought a brand new off my best pal, a Tully sewing machine, Grand Tully. Been my best pal all my life. Absolute superstar.
Seen some graft this machine as well, hasn't it?
I've seen some graft. There's a little sticker on there, a Bentley sticker 2005, so I've definitely had it like 19 years. But never, ever, ever, touch wood,
Had a problem?
no. As long as you service them, we're just using as a guide by eye the outside of the foot. So this is called a piping foot, which I use all day, every day, straight stitching, piping, wherever. I'd never ever change the foot. And we're using as a guide by eye the outside edge of the foot to put our stitch.
Is that foot, the little bit in the middle there that's kind of...
This is all the foot.
That's all the foot.
The foot is in two pieces. So that's one side done.
So now it's just the big outside edge.
That's one side of it. Inside, outside, whichever side. So that's nice and neat all the way down. As we pull it in, it'll come together. Two bits of leather will join. Nice bit of stitching over the top. Done.
Right, so now what we're doing, stretching it on?
Yeah. Just keep all of that with your spare hand. And roll it.
Keeping hold of the same part. Spot.
Yeah. Because now it's even tighter with a stitch on. Right, I'll get that now.
So you're just checking everything's in line and look neat.
Yeah.
So obviously this is going to take you about a day to do, isn't it? Like 8, 9, 10 hours to do a full wheel. How roughly would they have been done in the factory when they were new?
Exactly the same way as you've been watching.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no cheats, there's no machines. It's got to be done by hand.
So they'd have just cut a leather template out, then someone would have just sat and stitched it all together. So you're just getting the stitches to line up with that silver line on the inside of the rim there, aren't you?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
Right, mate, so we've got the leather stretched over and we're starting to stitch it on now. And you're using these bit of threads what was stitched on earlier on the machine, and you're kind of just putting a thread in between and pulling it tight together, aren't you?
Yeah. So the way we're doing it, we've actually dropped a stitch, so we'll get this kind of effect here. We're going to put all the stitches in, and then we'll pull it tight, so it ends up looking like that.
And what kind of stitching is this called? Has it got a name?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't
It's
know.
called the Angus stitch.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to come in through this side. we're going to go under that thread and pull it out.
Right.
There's different kinds of stitching. You can actually miss a stitch, which gives a different effect again, but I've just chose on this one just to drop a stitch. So when I start the knot even, I drop a stitch and you can see you get this kind of effect, which I like, to be fair. Sometimes I've got a golf steering wheel on the bench and it's got a what I call a drop stitch, so they miss a stitch, and personally doesn't look that good, like, I don't think.
And you might think it looks tight here, and you might think it looks tight at this end and open at this end, and that's because you're going to actually pull it all together at the end, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
You've got like a tool that hooks and pulls the threads tight and pulls the leather together.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
So they'll all look the same. It'll all look even and the same when it's done.
Yeah, it's just again by eye. We're gonna pull it across, tighten it all up, and then by eye try and keep the stitch in the same. But as I say, I've got a golf steering wheel on the bench. The job from the factory isn't that good. Like, it's all over the place. It goes from a stitch this size to millimeters, but
Just the way they do it.
oh wait this year.
Right, and this takes quite a while as well, doesn't it? What you're doing here?
It does. It.
I mean, how long do you think you'll spend stitching? About 2-3 hours?
No, a bit more than that.
A bit more than 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. It looks easy, but what I do is I count the stitches. We've got 56 stitches on each side of the small spoke. So if you double that on the top, 100 odd stitches to put in, and by hand. No magical cure.
No magic machines, eh?
No, all got to be done by hand.
Right, so like you just mentioned, Angus, you're going to pull the threads now and it'll pull the leather together, tightening it all up and getting all the stitches even so that the same width all the way around the wheel.
Yeah. All we're doing, as I say, would obviously off the template we knew it was going to hit. Obviously you lose a little tiny bit when you run that round on the rim both sides. Anyway, basically we're just going to use our eye, pull it all in. Your seam's nice and tight, there's no gaps anymore. And there was very, very little anyway, to be fair. But just by eye now, we're just going to pull these tighter. You can see that that's pulling in and just creates a lovely, lovely finish. So what I'm going to do is, when we're going to finish it off, I'm going to go underneath those 2 stitches. And we're going to get this and put about 5 loops on it. And keep all of it like that, pull it through. And all those 5 stitches are then going to keep that together.
That's the final knot.
That's the final knot.
Right, so we've cut 3 templates out, Angus, for the
Spokes.
The spokes. So we've retrimmed the majority of the steering wheel. We've done the wheel. We're now doing the 3 spokes, and this is how it was done. How Ford done it. They put 3 little we'll call them patches on the.
No, we don't like patches.
We don't like. What
Sounds a bit cowboyish. That
does,
we're
right,
Indians. We're Indians, not cowboys. Yeah.
So what we're calling them?
Fillets.
Fillets.
Fillets
Right.
is a good little name.
So we'll cut 3 fillets, all exactly the same size.
Well, the spokes are the same size, so it'd be rude not to.
Aye. And this is the same leather as what we've just trimmed the wheel with, isn't it? Obviously.
Well, it'd be a bit dodgy if it wasn't. Wouldn't it? You could put a bit of pink on.
No thanks.
No.
Be like Katie Price, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Pink Range Rover.
No, I don't want Katie Price. Cut inside the template, obviously, because we don't want any bigger.
All right. So you put that on.
That'll
Like
all
that.
be exactly the same.
So if you cut the outside, it would be bigger, wouldn't it? So you cut on the inside of this line.
Yes. Then we're going to skive it top and bottom, stick it on, sew it, and then unfortunately, I'll never ever see you again.
You will, because I'll be bringing gear knobs over.
You've got what you want, and you brought us a couple of coffees during the course of the day, and then that's it. I'll never see you again,
You
mate.
will. I'll be bringing gear knobs and all kinds of.
We'll form such a lovely relationship in one day. It's amazing.
Right, so you just skiving the leather out there, aren't you, just to thin it down a bit?
Yeah, that's just to make sure that the depth's right. There we go. No mistakes here, son.
Oh, is that a test piece?
Yes.
So that's basically an abrasive wheel spinning, isn't it? Just taking taking the leather off, the back of the leather. Then that's what you end up with after.
So that's what's happened there.
So here's one of the bits what's being done. And you can see that the where he skived it is going to go on that bit of the steering wheel. You fold it over, don't you, Angus?
The top bit we don't fold, the bottom bit we do.
Right.
So all we're going to do is skive it top and bottom.
Right, mate. So we've thinned the leather down at the edges here. We've done 2 of the patches. We're leaving this third one.
Patches?
So what we're calling them? Fillets.
Fillets.
Fillets. So we've got the last one. We've put a bit of foam in. You put that in just to give it a bit comfort when you touch it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what we're doing here?
What we're going to do, just to keep the leather one thickness, we're going to fold this bit back over on itself.
This is the inside edge here, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's not going to be thick, it's just going to be like one thickness.
And it gives you a nice straight edge as well, won't it?
Yeah.
So you've just glued it down, then you're giving it a roller just to stick it down, get it nice and flat.
Yeah.
So is this the same as when we've done the steering wheel? You're going to put a stitch on both sides?
Yeah, that's the basis of it. We're going to stitch both sides, we're going to hand stitch it in between.
And pull it together when
we're going to pull it nice and tight. And then unfortunately, that's the end of the day for me and you.
Well.
I'm never going to see her again, am I?
You will. I'll be bringing some of the bits over. Are you counting the stitches? Like the little loops what you do in the leather? Because obviously if you've got 10 on one side and like 6 on the other, it wouldn't stitch together as well, would it?
Not really, but this machine's called a walking foot needle feed, so in theory
it's going to be the same.
You don't even have to push it through, so it will be the same.
So literally you're going to put a bit of thread in between those little loops and pull it together, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right, Angus, so we've put the fillet, not the patch, we'll put the fillet on. So now you're just going to put what are you doing there?
So we're starting it off, so we've got a knot in the thread.
Obviously
so it doesn't pull back through. So there's our little knot there. So we're going to start stitching.
So you go under them loops what the sewing machine put in?
Yeah, under the loop and under the thread.
Then you go all the way there, you can see pulling it together there. So it's literally just going to pull it all together and close it up.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And what type of stitches do you call that? Or is it just stitching?
What do you want to call it?
I don't know, mate, you know better than me.
Just normal stitch.
Just normal stitch.
The important thing that goes completely underneath the thread, because you'd go halfway, which is possible. You'll catch it.
Right, so you've stitched it, mate. What you're going to do now, just pull them threads and pull it all together.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull it nice and tighter. And
it'll close that leather up.
That'll close it all up.
So you're starting from the top then, just working down?
Yeah. And then we'll put a stitch right at the bottom through the two. And that'll fasten everything off. You can see that's closing there nice.
It is, aye.
Even though you don't see this.
Still want it right though, didn't you?
Still want it right.
Getting quite a bit of slack thread there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like as you pull it, it's getting, you see all the tension coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So we're going to go back through the 2 stitches. I'm going to spin that round about 3, 4, 5 times. Pull that through. And that's it, nice and tight.
That's it tied up.
Nice and straight, in line with that. Happy days. Long hard day, but worth it. We'll give this a quick clean up and then we're done.
What we're going to clean it with?
Tongue glue remover, I would think.
Just to remove.
There's nothing really on it, to be fair.
Let's have a look. Oh, look at that, man. That looks mint, that like.
Does it feel nice?
It does.
Is it nice and tight?
Keep all that videos. Let's have a look.
Where's my video?
When you sell that, man.
Huh?
When you sell. Hold it the other way like a telly. There we go. Ah, that's mint that, mate. That's mint that.
Is it nice and tight?
Aye. It is, aye. It's going to look nice in my car, that.
Let's have a look.
Tell you what as well, I'm glad I went for black stitching.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, I've got a white car, so some people might go for white stitching, or if you've got a red car, they might go for red stitching. But I'm glad I've gone for the black stitching. I'm over the moon with that, mate.
Well,
over the moon with it.
All I can say is been emotional.
Thank
you for your bits of sandwiches and coffee. God bless you.
So there is the steering wheel finished, fellas, and looking mint. So if you remember how the steering wheel looked when we started, fellas, it looked like scrap. Now it's looking absolutely mint. We've got rid of all the rust, we've primed, painted, filleted, so it's all the metalwork's nice and smooth. Then Angus has worked his magic and re-trimmed the steering wheel in some Bentley quality nappa leather. I'm absolutely over the moon with it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I might put on my 3-door if I've still got it, because it is up for sale. But massive thanks to Angus. I'll leave links to Angus's Instagram below where you can check out his work. And I'm going to quickly run out of here before I have to pay the invoice. But yet again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.